go and be stupid for a bit. And then go back to school. That's from a teacher. Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do another first listen, and this one's a bit different than what I've been doing recently. I've been spending a lot of time in the 60s and 70s lately with my different projects, listening to Queen and the Beatles and some of the other first listens I've done in between. A lot of it has been in that era, and I am not abandoning that era because I understand there's a huge amount of amazing music that was produced back then. But it's time to break out of the mold a little bit. And I feel like as I'm beginning to become more familiar and established with the 60s and 70s and how the music developed in that time, I'm ready to step my feet forwards a little bit again. It's been a while since I did that. And I'm going to listen to Nirvana today from, I believe it's the 90s. And that's a bit of a change, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as usual, I have some little paragraphs to read, which Vlad has collected for me. And then today, I am going to watch the music video Unbroken first as my first listen. And then I will go back with the score and listen to the recording and pause and comment and all of that. So let's see what we have here. Nirvana was an American rock band formed in Aberdeen, Washington in 1987. Nirvana's success popularized alternative rock, and they were often referenced as the figurehead band of Generation X. Their music maintains a popular following and continues to influence modern rock culture. Well, I have to say right now that although I am not aware of having ever heard of any music by Nirvana, I have heard that name, Nirvana. I guess you just run into names from time to time. I don't know if I read it in the news or heard it in some conversation. Anyway, it's not a completely brand new name to me. In the late 1980s, Nirvana established itself as part of the Seattle grunge scene. Okay, so that's taking me to, well, in the History of Rock series, which we did the first big overview portion of that series so far. When Carl had me listen to Black Hole Sun, I remember him saying that was a grunge piece of music. They developed a sound that relied on dynamic contrasts, often between quiet verses and loud, heavy choruses. That's interesting. Characterized by their punk aesthetic, Nirvana's fusion of pop melodies with noise, combined with their themes of abjection and social alienation, brought them global popularity. Nirvana is one of the best-selling bands of all time, having sold more than 75 million records worldwide. During their 3 years as a mainstream act, Nirvana received an American Music Award, a Brit Award, and Grammy Award, as well as 7 MTV Video Music Awards and 2 NME Awards. They achieved 5 number 1 hits on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart and 4 number 1 albums on the Billboard 200. In 2004, Rolling Stone named Nirvana among the 100 greatest artists of all time. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in their first year of eligibility in 2014. All right. Nirvana disbanded following Cobain's suicide in April 1994. And that's another name. I guess I've read comments on this channel, many of you recommending or saying something about Kurt Cobain. And I'm not aware that I've ever listened to anything that he was involved with before, but now's my chance. Smells Like Teen Spirit is the opening track and lead single from the band's second album. What a name. What a name. Smells Like Teen Spirit. I know what teenagers smell like. I've been around a few in my life. Teen Spirit? Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's an interesting title. I kind of like it.
It was actually a deodorant.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And a friend of Kurt wrote on the wall, Kurt smells like Teen Spirit. But
okay.
But they meant the deodorant.
That's kind of fun. From the band's second album, Nevermind, in 1991. It was Nirvana's biggest hit, charting high on music industry charts around the world in 1991 and 92. It was met with wide critical acclaim and described as an anthem for apathetic kids of Generation X. Although Nirvana grew uncomfortable with the mainstream and commercial attention the song brought to them, interesting, uncomfortable. So they weren't like the Beatles where they just leapt into the fame and fortune and were happy about it. Uncomfortable. Listeners and critics continue to praise Smells Like Teen Spirit as one of the greatest songs of all time. Smells Like Teen Spirit was included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's list of the songs that shaped rock and roll. In 2001, the Recording Industry Association of America ranked the song at number 80 on their Songs of the Century list. In 2002, NME ranked the song the number two on its list of 100 singles of all time. Well, Kerrang ranked it at number 1. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. Kerrang? Kerrang. Kerrang. On its list of the 100 greatest singles of all time. In 2021, Rolling Stone ranked Smells Like Teen Spirit 5th on its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. In 2017, it was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. The music video won 2 MTV Video Music Awards and was in heavy rotation on MTV during the 1990s. In subsequent years, Amy Finnerty, formerly of MTV's programming department, claimed that the video changed the entire look of MTV by giving the channel a whole new generation to sell to. In 2000, the Guinness World Records named Smells Like Teen Spirit the most played video on MTV Europe. So this song is even in the Guinness Book of World Records. Well, let's see what this is all about, because that's a lot of high rankings and high acclaim and awards and recognition. I'm eager to hear it.
Load up on
at the end there, I started thinking, this is almost like listening to some big symphonic piece where the end is coming, and it's 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 coming. And it takes a while to get there, but it's coming. And it has this power and this strength and this force to it and the end is coming, but it's not here yet. Now, I want to go back and listen to it again with the score. I don't know if you noticed, but the first time I listened, I broke my habit and I only watched the movie and listened to the music without even having the score to refer to beside me. I did have the lyrics next to me. But now I have the score, and I'm going to pull it out here, and we will go back through. And I guess one of the things that I want to think about with this one is being such a repetitive song and so simple structurally and content-wise. What is it that makes it feel so good? What is it makes it sound so satisfying? And so I'm going to keep my ears kind of and my mind kind of going that direction as I go through. And also we'll see what else jumps out at me the second time round. That intro gives us what I started noticing, and I don't know if you noticed me when I was watching the movie. I was sitting here listening to the bass line. Bom, 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 bom. And I began thinking of all the many different songs which can be built off of a repetitive bass line, and all the way to the ever famous Pachelbel's Canon in D. Well, here we have a bass line which goes those same chords. Bom, 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 bom. Those 4 chords over and over, practically throughout the whole song. That's what this song is made out of, is that sequence of 4 chords. And we don't have the bass coming in yet. But if you listen to this first set of guitar bars coming in, it's kind of giving us that outline sketch already. In a rather stuttering manner, right? Dum da da. Dum ba dum bum bum ba da bum. It's kind of like, okay, let's get this going. But it's also I don't want to say stuttering as being negative or usually when we talk about stuttering we say it implying that it sounds hesitant. Well, it kind of hesitates a little bit, kind of chatters and struggles to find its voice, but at the same time, it really sounds a bit confident. I guess what I'm saying is, it doesn't sound shy or timid. It stutters, but it's not shy, it's not afraid. It's just kind of finding its footing, getting in place, and as soon as the pattern is established, bum, 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 then the drums come slamming in and the piece takes off. Kind of like the drums are saying, okay, enough of that. Let's get on the road here. And do we ever? And off we go. as that is set in motion and established, it drops out. And, well, what I read at the beginning was that this plays with dynamic contrasts. And it's really going for the contrast. Not a lot of subtlety and shading and transitional controlled manipulation of the dynamics, but more a matter of this is very strong and this is more gentle. Very strong, more gentle. That's essentially what it is. This is very strong, and now it gets to be a bit more gentle. And you can really hear the bass here. Listen for the bass. Let's see if we can pick out that bass line on the harp and see if we can point our ears towards it. And that is the ground on which, it's more than the ground, it is the building material of this entire song. And at the same time, it feels so good. We get into this groove, we settle in, and we just ride along. And we feel like we can just start moving to it. It creates this sort of almost hypnotic energy that just settles in and carries us along. So, that's what we have in the bass. Now, what do we have in the voice above it here? And that's what I was fascinated with the first time through, was how we have this very heavy, strong drum track. We have this bass, which is really pounding it into our ears what the song is made out of. And then we have the voice. Or this guitar. Da-da, da-da.
Load up on guns, bring your friends, fun to lose, to pretend she's overboard.
And the voice, although it is not a really long, sustained melody, it is melodic. And in fact, this little figure which starts it off is what the voice enters with. Listen. And the voice starts with those intervals. But after that, it is really quite a pleasing melodic line and surprisingly legato compared to everything else around it. We have the drums, which are very vertical. We have the bass, which is very compact and repetitive. And then we have this melodic line being sung by a fairly soft, warm voice. And it's an interesting contrast. I don't hear it so much as being a massive contrast of volume as I'm listening in my headphones. The chorus, which is the really loud part, yes, it's louder, but I don't hear this as being significantly, noticeably, what I would call quiet, mostly because of the drums. But instead, it's more a contrast of textures, contrast of tonal quality if we compare the two. This is much softer, rounder, smoother.
Load up on guns, bring your friends, fun to lose.
Rather like corduroy. There's a thickness and a softness to it.
Self-assured, no, the dirty word.
And then we launch into the high energy part of it. Now, as I'm thinking about what makes this so attractive, there are several things. One is the energy found within the bass and drum groove riff, and the way it is used to drive the piece along. Secondly, are these contrasts. And when we have a lot of repetition, contrast becomes a very valuable tool. It becomes our friend so that we don't end up going into autopilot. We don't let it fade into the background and just become part of our surrounding ambient noise behind us. Instead, this shifting from very strong and aggressive to a little bit smoother, softer, more mellow gives us a break from the high energy onslaught, and at the same time we are not kept settled in the very mellow portion of it for too long. It takes us back and forth. A bit like, you could say, a sauna followed by a cold plunge. One gets us very warm, the other brightens it and wakes us up again. We are back at this a little bit of breathing room. As I'm reading the lyrics, they're kind of nonsensical to me, but at the same time, they fit what we could say is the teenage persona, the teenage years, the teenage experience, where things don't exactly always make sense. And the music also. It's this very high energy. I imagine a bunch of teenagers getting together. Well, even in the movie, it kind of gave me that picture of a bunch of teenagers getting together and just going crazy and letting out a whole bunch of energy. And now as I'm saying this, I'm remembering what Carl said.
Like Vlad used to do in the 90s.
As I'm saying this, I'm remembering what Carl told me as we were going through the history overview. And that is that this music was a means of a safe and positive way for young people to release all the pent-up energy that they have within themselves. And it makes sense. It fits. It works really well. And the lyrics, I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now. Entertain us. I mean, how much more teenage attitude could we come up with? They're kind of useless phrases, and their desire for something to happen, something to go on, something to catch their attention. Their talk about stupidity and this and that, and kind of disparaging, and a lot of it is tongue-in-cheek. Some of it is sincere. It's often hard to decipher what's what. I think even for them, because it's a very confusing phase of life, really. And what do? You have all this pent-up energy. You're in this confused state. You don't always know. You're supposed to be working towards graduating high school. You're supposed to be thinking about your career. You're supposed to be thinking about college applications and being productive and leaving childhood. And at the same time, you are still a child in so many ways. And this is a great way to just let it all go and get rid of the pressure and just have fun going crazy together and being your stupid selves. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, allow yourself to be who you are and to feel stupid if you wish. It doesn't have to always be intelligent and smart and career focused and grades oriented and preparing for this test and achieving that goal. Go and be stupid for a bit. And then go back to school. That's from a teacher.
I'm worse than what I do best. For this gift of being blessed, I let out through. It's always been, always will until the end.
Something in this melody sounds so incredibly familiar. This is wild. This is, I'm sure it's unintentional. I'm sure it's by accident. Du holde Kunst. Da 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 dum da 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 ba dum da 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 dum da 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 dum. Yes. Musik. Schubert's Musik. I'll put a link. And I want you to compare the two melodies and tell me if I'm crazy.
Being blessed, I let out through. It's always been, always will until the end. When the lights out, it's a dangerous. You ain't on now. Entertain us. I'm just stupid. It contagious. You ain't on now. Entertain us. I'm a liar. I'm a fighter. I'm a skater. I'm a beater. Yeah. Hey.
I think they could have done that a couple more times. This, what is it? They're saying, hey? Yeah. Hey. I feel like it could come more than twice, maybe 3 or 4 times before going on. It could even become its own little section of music there. Do it a couple more times. But no, we go into this, which is fine. Kind of like the way it just settles into this. And the long guitar. I do like that transition. I do like the way it has this swirling guitar solo noise. I'm going to use the word that I read at the beginning. Noise. This swirl of noise and stuff happening. And then it settles into a long focused line which is fading out, and we just hear bumpa chi-chi, tumpa chi-chi, tumpa chi-chi, tumpa chi-chi. And then as that guitar fades, the voice comes in. It's a really nice transition there.
So can the factory noise be turned into a really nice music?
I wouldn't call this factory noise. It's not that kind of noise. There are other kinds of noises too. One is just teenage chaotic noise. Look, I don't want to come across as negative towards teenagers. I hope you understand that. I am incredibly sympathetic towards teenagers, and I teach them a lot. And I love their spirit. I love their passion and their openness and the way they dream, and at the same time, they face so many challenges, especially in this modern world that we live in. And I'm sympathetic towards it. I'm a teacher, and I love the opportunity, the potential in every teenager that I cross paths with. And I want to support them. That means that I have to allow them to be who they are. Music and all.
And I forget just why today, so yeah, I guess it makes me smile. I found it hard, it's hard to find a well, whatever, never mind.
I can just imagine some kids hanging around, lounging on the sofa, watching their screens, chatting a bit, watching a movie, turning on some music, and just talking nonsense. Somebody over in the corner saying, hello, hello, hello. Somebody else picks it up, says, hello, hello, hello. And then it becomes their little inside joke. They do these things. I think it's great. It's a kind of creativity. It's a way of exploring, and at the same time, not being too emotionally invested in it. Sometimes you just gotta make fun of things. Now we feel like it should be the end of a grand symphony. And the conductor's up there, sweating. my teenage years are past. And I was kind of an atypical teenager to start with. But I can appreciate this music for what it does, what it is, what it means to such a large part of the population. And I understand how it can have an appeal and a draw, and how it can be a really positive thing in one's life. It's not something that I would find myself saying, oh, I'm just desperate to hear Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Please put that on the radio for me, or please turn that on. Let me hear it tonight. It's not that, because I'm not that kind of person, and it's not my life phase. However, it is really, really good at what it does for what it is. And I don't begrudge that at all. I think it's a wonderful, positive thing for there to be music that connects to every single person at every point in their life and meets their needs at every phase of their journey. So to answer my question, which was, why do we find this so appealing and attractive the way it is? It's a combination. It's a combination of the rhythmic force and power and energy that is built into it, the repetition of the bass line, which links with the rhythm and gives it this wonderful framework off of which to build. And then the voice. I really enjoy the way the voice goes from a smooth, gentle, mellow quality, rather lyrical, to more of the loud, kind of let it all out. I wouldn't say aggressive. This is not something that sounds aggressive to me. It sounds more like it's a release, like it is letting go and being free. I like that. And I think that is one of the things that helps it to be so attractive, is that it brings in all these different qualities, even within its very simple framework and its very simple contrast between the two. It gives room for a lot. And at the same time, it just lets us dive in, go crazy, enjoy the feeling, and feel good when we're finished. Anyway, this song smells like Teen Spirit. But never mind. I'll see you next time.